Hello everybody, and welcome to Nashville Superspeedway here. I am not Carmen Hardy, I'm Kristina Ryan, and I am here with Callie, Heydt, and we're going to be bringing you flag-to-flag coverage of today's Blues 180 here in the TWIGI iRacing series. Callie, you've had a little bit more seat time in this series than I have, though I have ran about 2 races earlier on in the season. How are you feeling today, first of all? And at a unique track like Nashville, what are we expecting to see from these drivers today?
I am well, thank you. How are you? I may have had more seat time in this series, but as this series uses primarily iRacing fixed sets, I think you may have a lot more experience in this car than me with your previous drives during the 2021 season in this other league. As for what to expect, call me a killjoy, but I could probably put money on who's going to win tonight, judging by tonight's practice results.
Yeah, no real argument there. Merrick Watchhorn, most career wins in TWIGI iRacing series, currently sitting at 28 at that marker. Also, as he takes a bit of a slide there in the corner and smacks the wall, finds the guard railing at the end of practice. Not only that, but also on a 6-race win streak. So he's been borderline unstoppable, and we'll have a look and see what he does here in qualifying. However, it was pretty close between him and Brandon Gregg in second place there.
Well, he sure tried to destroy that streak last week with 2 or 3 separate incidents that put his chance of victory in very high risk. However, in the traditional Merrick Watchhorn fashion, he still finished home on the top step.
Well, we'll see if he can replicate that again. One of the most dominant drivers in this series, one that makes everybody kind of quake and has run other competitors almost out of the series. I'm kidding, of course, but it has felt that way with how dominant that car has been. Coming down.
Go ahead. Definitely what I call a skill issue on some of these cars. They complain. Watchhorn wins all the time. Oh, they can't take it to him, and they can't talk.
Drive faster.
Drive faster. I've only seen 2 or 3 cars this season that have even challenged him, and even then, they rarely come out on top.
Well, let's take a look here riding on board with Merrick Watchhorn for his qualifying run. It is a bit loud, but it's a lot louder in the race car. I can guarantee you that. Off into turn 1, he floats that thing off in there. 140 miles an hour on exit, only 4 gears in these Xfinity race cars. Jacob Elkin's the first one on the leaderboard right now in that number 9. Brandon Gregg goes second fastest. Waiting for the ticker to start to update a little bit here. Pull up the tower. You can see those hands on that left-hand side. Watch them work around here as we get into the second lap. Merrick Watchhorn sets the first lap. It's going to be 4th fastest, but this is the moneymaker right here. Let's see what he can do. Needs to pick up about a 10th here down the backstretch. Dyer goes fastest. Matthew Dyer with a 30.67. That's going to make Watchhorn have to go about 2/10 faster now as he comes out of turn number 4. Down and across the line. Use a little bit of that apron. Is it enough for pole? No. Not even close, in fact.
400ths down on his... sorry, 400ths up on his first run, but still not good enough.
So Matthew Dyer, who now finds his way in a brief career as a lawnmower, will go to the pit lane with provisional pole, and that is a bit of a surprise. See who else is on track here. I believe that's Casey Ellis currently running her laps from Pennsylvania, the rookie, at number 53 machine.
Watchhorn falling down to 6th now. This is not what he'd like to see coming into the coming into the night. Several cars ahead of him, which aren't usually ahead of him on a single lap pace, and we know that Watchhorn has what it takes for long runs. He can manage the tank, he can manage the tires, he gets it done.
Not sure what's going on here with Selena Thompson, who is sideways in the pit lane. She's not set a lap time. And she's perpendicular in her pit stall, so not sure what's going on there with the 61 machine. Bren Roberts is on track, though, in the number 85. He's got 3 wins in the ARCS A² Cup Series, which you can see me broadcasting alongside Kevin Young on Sunday night. Still filling in for Carmen. Hope you're well loved. We miss you. But Bren Roberts across the line for his first lap is going to be enough for 6th place. So actually faster than Watchhorn. Let's see what he does here now down the backstretch. See if he can pick up a little bit more extra pace there. Down through turn 3 and out of 4 now, a little bit wide, letting that car fade up towards the wall, nearly clips it out of the corner, and across the line for Bren, it's going to be...
Provisional pole currently.
Yeah, only by a few millimeters over Dyer.
With the only other car currently left to complete laps being the 61 of Selena Thompson, I think Roberts may have that wrapped up. Yeah,
unless Lilac Zier or RJ Buchanan decide to go out, but it does not look like they are going to.
No, they are finished with the qualifying run. They are not going to be setting laps. I don't know if they failed to qualify both runs or did not attempt any runs, but they are both done for this session.
Which means it's Selena Thompson who has said and let us know through the radio that she is not going to be attempting qualifying, which means Bren Roberts takes it from Dyer in the dire straits of the session. So Selena Thompson gets off the track and forfeits her quali run. That will advance things a little further, and we'll get straight into the race. How exciting is this? We get to go right into it.
You want to put bets on how long it takes Watchhorn to get first place?
I'd say about 10 laps.
That's what I said last week, and I was bang on. So yeah, I'll go 10 laps.
Well, it is time for the starting grid. It is a small but hardy field today. We'll take a look at it here. Bren Roberts on pole in the number 85 machine. That Ford Mustang alongside the pink and black of Matthew Dyer. Then David Wright and Martin Roberg behind them with Jacob Elkins and Brennan Gregg, who was second in practice behind the man who's behind him on the grid, Merrick Watchhorn. Watchhorn, the winningest driver, the points leader by 509 points. It's pretty much a walk-off charity event for him, but he'll have to do it from deeper in the field than normal. Maurice Gomillion behind with Greg Pillar and Casey Ellis for slightly talented drivers rounding out the top 10. Then it's Lilac Zier and RJ Buchanan rounding out row number 6. And then Selena Thompson in the 61 rounding out the field for tonight's race. Callie, tell us a little bit about this racetrack.
I believe it's a 1.5 mile track or somewhere around there.
1.3, so very close, yes.
Close enough. I looked at the shape and thought, yeah, that looks close enough. I don't think I have much experience running this track specifically. Obviously, I acquired it for whatever reason some time ago. I don't remember what for. Could have been a series we used to run last year that I was here for first. I couldn't tell you much about this track. I don't know a great deal about it. It looks pretty standard to, a regular 1.3 to 1.6 mile course. And with these fixed sets, spending a lot of front right wear.
Absolutely, and that concrete is going to be even more aggressive for these drivers. They come down to take the green flag, and we will get the Blues 180 underway. Roberts and Dyer lead us down.
Clean start so far through 1 and 2. No risky moves. Ellis was trying for a wheel on the outside. Didn't quite have the run to pass Gomillion.
Mm-hmm.
You have Thompson and Pillar falling back slightly. More so Thompson. But the rest of the field kind of gets their groove on. We have a car tapping the wall. I believe that's
Roberg. I think that barely
both
scraped
cars,
the wall.
Both Roberg and Greg both had decent slides along that.
And already Merrick Watchhorn up 2 positions on the first lap. Bren Roberts leading lap 1. Watchhorn already up to 5th and looking at for 4th now on Jacob Elkins.
A new paint job for Watchhorn today. So if we're used to the navy blue Supra, look out instead for the orange Supra. That's what he's currently running today. Different paint job to usual. May confuse you like me.
No, not me. We're from the stock car background. I'm used to my favorite drivers having different paint schemes every week, so none of that. Although if you're a Red Bull fan in F1, I guess you could say you're used to that too, with as often as they change their cars. Move here for second is David Wright going for it on Matthew Dwyer. Dyer is going to have to let out a little bit there. Going to try a little crossover move, though. Backs off a little early. Lets the one of Wright going a little deeper. Now going to try to challenge for that position back, but not quite going to have the energy to do it right now. All in the meanwhile, Bren Roberts scoots away and opens up about a half-second lead.
Wright he's had good runs the past 2 races. Last race, in the last 10 or so laps, he was pushing Watchhorn for the win. He had really good pace, and Watchhorn later mentioned there was some concern. But unfortunately, he went too deep, hit the wall, and ruined his chances for even a podium finish. Let's see if he can mimic the good parts of last week and none of the bad.
Well, so far off to a good start, getting up a position now on Dyer, which means nobody's standing between him and Bren Roberts. Merrick Watchhorn up to 4th position, will be quick on the heels, though, and you can see already it looks like visibly David Wright starting to crawl in a little bit on Bren Roberts, who could be saving some tire right now with all that lead he has. I wouldn't blame him, especially with the track so abrasive with the concrete. But guess who's up into 3rd position now? It's Merrick Watchhorn. All of this happening behind Bren Roberts in the 85, who took pole position in the dying seconds of qualifying and has led every lap of the 6 we've ran. 136 scheduled for tonight. They should click off relatively fast if we stay green, but that is the thing. You can already see some of the drivers scooting up the hill out of turn number 2. But the other thing we noticed in qualifying, Callie, or in practice, a lot of people getting loose or tight out of turn number 4. It seems to be the calamity corner. People either turning the wheel so much to avoid the wall that they end up smacking it, or getting too tight, not getting able to turn and hitting the wall. So,
I mean, we already saw 2 cars run that outside wall very early in this race with brand new tires. Later in the run, tires wear off, cars get lighter. I think we're going to see a lot of cars in that turn 4 outside wall tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's going to be where most of the cautions will come from today, if we have them. It seems like turn 2 is not so forgiving either, but especially turn 4. It just really sucks in those cars and eats them for breakfast. But we got a nice little battle starting to form up here, because it looks like Roberts is leading over Wright and Watchhorn, but they're in reverse order of speed. I think Watchhorn's the fastest. Wright's a little faster than Bren, and Bren is kind of out there trying to save as much as he can as the leader. Either that or maybe struggling just a touch. It's not completely a one-sided battle, but Bren Roberts is losing a bit of ground to the 1 in the 91.
Definitely, yeah. Watchhorn, known for his long-run pace. Wright has decent long-run pace, but last week his heroic efforts were after a few back-to-back yellows, which would have complemented his ability to push the car harder in the last stages of the race. Watchhorn, he can go as long as he needs to. He's more often than not one of the last cars to pit for fuel. You might have some other cars coming in earlier because they have burnt their tires off completely.
It's right on board here with David Wright as he tries to defend against the winningest driver in Twiggy. How would you like to see that in your rearview mirror? I probably wouldn't want to.
Not on my to-do list, definitely not.
And now looking out the front bumper, because it looks like Merrick Watchhorn still on the move in that number 91 machine. May have started back in the field, but is
we have Gamillion around.
And that will bring out the first caution.
Maybe that was that was an incident with the 61 car through 3 and 4. No, through 1 and 2, sorry.
Some damage on that number 44 machine, but does get it rolling again. And as you mentioned, Callie, that'll bring out the first caution of the day. Let's take a look and see if we can see what happened to the 44 machine. You mentioned with the 61, that would be Selena Thompson. Oh, that's a
little late in the wreck. You were a little ahead there. So
yeah,
come back into 2 where it kicks off.
Oh wow, they spent about a half a lap wrecking there, didn't they? Selena sends it in pretty hard here. Let's see if there was a little contact.
He goes sideways. She taps him again. She taps him again, and he just leaves the car into the wall. Front damage, rear damage, turn around. It's not a great day.
Lucky not to get T-bone there. Good heads-up driving from the rest of the field to not get into him as he was spinning around here. Let's see if we can't ride on board with Selena Thompson and get an idea of what she saw through the front end of that machine. Back this up just a touch, because that's probably going to be right before the point of contact. It doesn't take much to turn these cars around, does it, Callie?
with the right momentum in your car and not enough in their car, the difference will just will just go
Oh,
around.
it is just the slightest of taps, and Gramillion just couldn't quite hang on to it there. And do you think it might be a little early to be racing that hard? Do you think that's a fair enough move on the side of Maurice, or on Selena rather?
I think it's a fair move if you have the space, but if you don't have the space and there wasn't space there, then you are pushing a little too hard, a little too soon.
You can
I
see just
appreciate that there was she had a better run into that corner, but it is your job to pass cleanly. If you can't do it, then you are at fault.
So Maurice Gramillion going to have quite a bit of damage on that number 44 machine as he tries to get work done there. It looks like the damage on Selena Thompson's car not quite as egregious. You can see the 44
Definitely
still
got
in pit lane.
A lot better on that one. He's still still in pit lane. Probably gonna stay in there. Complete any unmandatory repairs required for the car, and then head back out right before the pace car comes around the start line. This earlier in the race, it would be unwise to use your fast repair when the car's only primarily aerodynamic damage.
Yeah, that's right. They do have fast repairs in this series. I believe
Just
it's one. Yep.
Just one, yeah.
You know, it makes you wonder here as we try to see if we can get a better look at the damage on that 61. Obviously, the inside of that car looks pretty clean, but that's not the part that was bouncing off of Gramillion. There you see some damage on the right-hand side, and also some damage to Martin Roberg, who we saw hit the wall a little bit on the early stages. Shouldn't affect that 61 car too much. I think it's more going to be a mental... Yeah, it's going to be whether there's mental strain of the fact that, you know, obviously not intentional, but the idea of, oh god, I wiped somebody out, that does weigh on you as a driver.
Holmes has spent a lot of time with that right side all scratched up, so I don't think there's anything unfamiliar territory there.
Well, fair enough. You know what is also familiar, not unfamiliar territory, is Brent Roberts out front with Merrick Watchhorn on the front row. This is going to be a pretty fun one to watch off into turn one when we go green here this time by.
Unfortunately, we did pass that 10-lap threshold, so I think we both are down money tonight.
Well, we didn't anticipate the caution, you know. It's 10 green flag laps. Maybe we still get money on that one, eh?
Alright, I'll let you know in lap 16 how we are.
Yeah. Well, we are going to be getting the restart on lap 14. It's going to be Roberts and Watchhorn side by side. Roberts has led every lap so far from the pole. Merrick Watchhorn has a winning streak he's trying to keep up, trying to go for 7 straight wins in the TWIGI iRacing series. Pace car's off. Green flag back in the air. Not yet. Into the Geico restart zone. There it is, and a great jump by Brent Roberts. Leaves Watchhorn napping. Almost got split 3 wide there. Down the back, Roberts, Watchhorn, Dyer, and Wright. They're side by side for the 3rd position here. Is Wright's going to have another look on Dyer. Off into turn number 3. Dyer in the pink and black on the outside lane. David Wright on the bottom in the number 1 machine, the Hawaiian number 1. Just behind them is Jacob Elkins in the Interstate Batteries number 9. And now a crossover from Matthew Dyer. This is the best battle on the track right now, and it's for the final spot on the podium. A little tight entry there for Dyer, but going to tuck right in 4th.
Cars position 1 through 8 are neatly packaged together in one line. Then from 9 onwards, it definitely spreads off a little bit. Zia down 2, currently in last place. Gramillion desperate to get those positions back.
You can see them very faintly off in the distance as they fight for those final few positions. Looking back from race leader Brent Roberts, looking at the points leader Merrick Watchhorn. Mentioned usually driving a navy blue kind of car. That orange is going to show up a lot better in the mirrors.
Oh, definitely. Like kind of like a hunting vest. Aware, I'm right here.
It's got to be distracting. It is distracting. You can either go 2 trains of thought. You can have that gray front end that kind of sneaks up and you don't really see it, that Intimidator kind of vibe where you just suddenly it's behind you, or you can go for the bright, obnoxious, please get out of my mirror kind of paint schemes. And it looks like Watchhorn's going for both this season and using the orange one tonight. Getting closer. Might have a look down on the inside line here. Gonna have a battle for the lead in about a lap's time.
I feel like it's definitely likely that Roberts is pushing his car a little too hard to try and maintain a position ahead of Watchhorn. Watchhorn not required to do that, and already having an advantage
Oh.
in tire saving will probably last or fare better during a long run should we get one.
Tell you what,
Or
Roberts is trying to make that outside line work though, and that Washington machine is gonna let Watchhorn go though. Realizes that's maybe not the fight right now, but put up
laps into 136 laps. You might not want to do that too early.
Not bad though. I was surprised to see him hold that outside line. I figured when he went deep into one there that would have been the end of it with how this track is. It's not really a multi-lane track. Oh, the Elkin's very sideways there in the background in that green Interstate Batteries machine. Holds on to it, still saving it. You see the wiggles there out of turn number 2. Looks like Matt Dyer might have a go at Roberts now as well as they all kind of pack up. Watchhorn now in the lead. He gets to set the pace of the field. One thing he's definitely going to want to see is those two side by side in his mirror.
Well, usually when Watchhorn sets the pace, he's still pulling time on the cars behind him.
Absolutely. Though it kind of depends. Do you want to push a big gap? That's usually what it is. You could either pull a huge gap, or you can try and, take it easy, save a little bit, pull away a little bit. So we have an 8-car group on screen there. Those are the leaders, and then 9th on back are in the background there. You can see that on the track map as well, as we're currently following the 3rd place car of Matt Dyer. And do you think everybody's saving a little bit of tire here, knowing that this is going to be a good potential for a long green flag run?
Well, maybe they were thinking that 11 laps ago, but after that first caution, maybe less certain about those strategy calls. We're only 10 laps now in since the last caution, about 7 laps in since the last green run. Thompson just scraping the outside wall of 4 there. Again, what, 7 laps into this run, 22 laps with their tires overall. They're starting to wear for a little bit of everyone, I think. And I'm not sure how long these tanks will run, but depending on the track, we're looking at 30 to 45, around that ballpark, probably in the higher range of that.
These are the 8 drivers in the front group. Watchhorn down to Thompson, who you mentioned. Thompson falling off the group a little bit, having just scraped the wall a touch. 7 laps into the run. And yeah, the fuel is going to be a concern too, but this is a track where you can kind of save a little bit more fuel if you do a little bit of maybe not necessarily clutch coasting, unless you get into some extreme saving measures, but you can roll, let the engine slow that car down a little bit, not use the brakes as much, just kind of coast into the corners. That can add up a lot on these shorter racetracks, as we now see a battle for 9th between Pillar and Gamillion, trying to recover in that number 44 after some damage earlier in the first caution.
Zia right behind those 2 cars. If they fight for too long, that 89 will definitely be able to pick up some scraps if they buy their time very well.
Another battle on track here is the battle between Roberg and Greg. Saw them duking it out just a little bit. This is actually breaking them off of the rest of the leaders here. Now it's 6th through 8th in this little group, as the top 5 has started to break away just a little bit further now. And as you mentioned, that being able to pick up the scraps, Lilac Zier's gotten around Gamillion now. So she's on the way up and puts herself into the top 10. We know her to always be one of the more patient drivers that kind of just sits and waits for things to happen, and usually very good on tires and fuel.
Well, I usually say that about Zia, but sometimes she sees significant drop-off in her pace. Pushes the car too hard.
So I think somebody's still mad from Sonoma, aren't they?
Oh, don't even.
As she moves up another position now in the 9th place, and we'll get around Pillar. I think this was a product of, like you said, they were fighting so hard they might have burned some of their stuff off, and
yeah,
Zier just being able to kind of sit around. Obviously, Gamillion having a little bit of damage as well, but especially in the case of Greg Pillar, letting them fight it out, and lets her sneak on by when she's got just has fresher tires by not having to battle as hard.
Well, you say that, but Gamillion does have fresher tires. They went in the pits for their repairs.
True, but he does have the damage.
So did Zia. Both Zia and Gamillion, pitted on lap 11, have the freshest tires currently in the field, and the fullest tanks.
Well, there you go. So a little bit of strategy play there. I don't think that's a bad call for Zier. There's not many cars in the field. Give yourself that advantage if you're sitting around hanging in the back of the field. Why not? Bren Roberts putting the fire onto the back of Merrick Watchhorn, although knowing Watchhorn, maybe he's just trying to give us a show up here in the booth. We'll find that he is leading, but not by a whole lot. Doesn't need to pull a big gap right now because these two are pulling away from the rest of the field, but Bren Roberts has not really lost touch with Watchhorn since losing the lead here.
And I imagine since getting passed by Watchhorn, Roberts has eased off a little, cooled down, and tried to start playing the tire game.
Mm-hmm. The tire game that many people are going to be playing tonight.
Everyone tries, but only very few succeed with.
It is a tricky game to play. It's a bit like gambling, you know. You never know. You can have the perfect strategies. You see Matt Dyer getting a bit loose in the background there. You can have the perfect strategy, and one caution completely derails your entire strat and puts you on the back foot. But in the same way, you can have the worst strategy in the world, and nothing happens to bail you out, and you're losing positions hand over fist when you had a top 5 car. You end up in 15th. So,
I mean, I've seen you gamble, Chrissy, and it was all luck.
But I still won, and I'd rather be lucky than good.
Ain't that the truth?
Merrick Watchhorn happens to be both, as is Bren Roberts. Great little race car drivers, both of them, having plenty of success in their careers. Matt Dyer having a nice little fight for this podium with Jacob Elkins, who we talked about a little bit earlier as being a bit free on the free side in that number 9, but still up one position from where he started, making good progress and looks like a good candidate to maybe go for the podium tonight.
Going through the field as it stands, the car with the most spots gained is Watchhorn with 6 up, currently running first. Cars with the most spots dropped is Gamillion, currently running 11th with 3 down, though that one less surprising since earlier incidents.
Yeah, other drivers who are moving up through the field, Selena Thompson with 4 positions, Lilac Zero with 3, and Elkins with 2. Everybody else that's lost positions has only either lost 1 or 2 from where they started.
Very minimal losses and gains so far.
Yeah. I think the biggest swing there, the biggest surprise to me, as we see this battle really heating up for the 3rd position, is that Selena Thompson's up 4 despite being involved in that crash. And look at that number 9 car step out again out of turn number 4. Elkins is fighting that thing a little bit.
Thompson tends to have a strong showing earlier in the race. And then I think more often than not, it's a case of burning up too soon. Then having a slow car for the rest of the race, being a lap down on pace because of the stop cycles, or just getting loose and destroying the car. Too eager to push too hard too soon. That driver needs some patience.
Part of the rookie experience of learning stock cars. As we see behind now, the battle starting to heat up with Dyer and Wright. That's going to pull a little bit of the heat off the back of Elkins as we see the move being made now. Side by side for P4.
Oh, we have contact again with the 44 and the 61.
And in the wall again goes the 44.
That looked like a that didn't look accidental on the final sweep for the 44 going up into the wall.
Let's have a look at it as we still stay green for now. Oh my.
So they got those together. Another tap there, and then Gamillion.
Oh, and he missed. If that was indeed what he did, he's.
I mean, we're in no position to make accusations, but it did not look like he was trying to correct himself there.
I mean, I don't know that I'd blame him if that's the case. He's in pit lane now, though. But
I would be tempted to do a similar thing, but it was definitely a move that didn't pay off.
Oh yeah, those gloves took a big old turn to the right. Swing and a miss for Maurice Gamillion.
Well, now out comes the fast repair, I'm sure.
Yes, but the damage, I believe, is already done on that machine. He is going to be significantly far off the pace and might have a visit to the big red truck in a little while.
He may not be qualifying next week, that's for sure.
I have a feeling that neither will the 61, if Maurice has anything to say about it before it's over.
Interestingly, we have the 53 in the wall during pacing out of 2. Interesting strategy. Not sure it will pay off in the long run.
Selena Thompson with even more damage now on that machine, which is going to back her up to Greg Pillar, who is going to have a go, even though the tires seeming to have gone off on that 09 machine. Meanwhile, Lilac Zero up to 6th place as Greg and Roberg, excuse me, continue to battle in the 37 and the 18 machine now.
You know, it just occurred to me when everyone had the caution. Interesting.
Yeah, no, there was no caution there. So they stayed green. I think it was because Gamillion stayed going straight and was off of the racing surface. So that's why I was mentioning that was going to be pretty detrimental to Maurice's race, because he's going to have to do all that pitting under green.
I mean, he is out of the pits now. He is obviously a lap down, but he is a fully fixed car. I don't know if he would have taken tires and fuel just to maintain only one lap down.
I feel like you'd have to try and stay one lap down. If you have fresh tires, at least you can pull away from the leaders, you know, and have that lucky dog.
His stop was a 35.6. Zier's stop during the first portion of this race was a 42.2, which would have been tires and fuel. So I have reason, although I have reason to believe this would have been a repair only.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like to me. And we got a couple battles here sparking on the track. You mentioned Zier having a bit of a longer stop because she took tires. She's putting them to good use here, fighting now for 5th position on Dyer and gets the position. Meanwhile, Elkins and Wright are having a proper scrap out of turn number 4, nearly making a little bit of contact. Very close running for these two. So the 1 and the 9 crossed the line. It would have been David Wright that time for 3rd place, but Elkins trying to get that momentum on the top.
Incredibly close out of 3 and 4.
And Lilac Zier is in the perfect position to watch it all unfold in front of her. On board with her now from the nose cam of that Ford Mustang. You see off in the distance Watchhorn and Roberts, the battle there starting to calm down a bit. Watchhorn pulling a little bit. Oh, a little bit of a slide job for the number 1 of David Wright. Comes up in front of Elkins. I'm not so sure that Elkins is going to quite appreciate that. And Lilac Zier is licking her chops right now because she's passed about 6 cars since the restart here, and is looking to get on the podium with that fresh tire, or those fresh tires, 10-lap fresher tires. So
I have a question for you, Chrissy.
Yeah.
What happens when you add 1 plus 9?
You get 10.
You get a caution.
Yeah, I think they're working on it, but I think there's a little bit of a gap here now. We'll see. Wright has been big wiggles again from Elkins.
Very loose.
He's been struggling with that since the start of the race. The Columbus, Ohio native, reigning champion as well.
Zier going for the inside move.
Ooh.
Close. Had to back out of it there. Would have tied Elkins otherwise. Still getting the run though. Elkins looking like he does not have the grip in those rear tires to make runs out of corners anymore.
It looked to me like Elkins was committing to go to the bottom, and then Zier had filled that hole, and he had to change position midway through the corner, which really killed the momentum he was going to have there. But now they're still side by side. This is allowing Matt Dyer to get back into the fight as well, as they're now side by side once again. But it looks like Zier is going to have the slight advantage, and she should be able to clear here because, I don't know, because that 9 car, she ran in a little deep and the 9 drove in hard. They're still going to stay side by side. This one's not quite over yet. Now it looks like she's got it.
Perfect.
Yeah, absolutely. David Wright gets some breathing space, and if you're Matt Dyer, this is another opportunity for you to get back into it.
Where there are winners, there are losers in racing.
Oh, look at how loose Elkins is. He is really fighting the right rear on that car. And I'll tell you what, I don't know about you. I prefer cars that are on the freer side. I'd rather have a loose car than a tight car. Yeah. But he is busy right now in that number 9. He is working his butt off to not let that thing spin out.
I mean, we both compete on Wednesday nights. We know how much difference a loose car can make versus a car that does not want to go where you want it to.
Absolutely. It is a nightmare trying to drive a car that's tight. It's a nightmare trying to drive a car that's loose, but I feel like when it's loose, at least you can power off of there. Look at how he is working that wheel right now. He is a busy boy.
Yeah, these tight cars just don't do it for me. It's too difficult to drive.
There's a certain way to drive them, and it doesn't gel with everybody's driving style. I honestly feel like the tight cars kind of fit my driving style more, but I just don't like them. They're not as fun. I'll tell you what, Jacob Elkins is having fun, though. Watch these hands out of turn 4. I mean, woohoo! He is working that thing.
Working off his sweat, I'm sure.
Yeah, and then compare that to Matthew Dyer here. Watch this 9 car, how it dances around. And then watch the hands of the 7, how they're much more maintained here. Maybe a little bit more on the tight side. Gets right up on the 9, who really can't. Gave a little bump there. Elkins can't really control where that car is going because it's all over the track here. Watch him here, especially out of turn 4. This thing's going to kick out. See, it looks like, David Wright into the pit lane.
So that's 45 on the money. 45 for mostly green flag runs.
So the battle now is for what will be 3rd position. or actually 4th position now. So they're 4th and 5th with Dyer with David Wright pitting. He's the only one to pit so far.
We now have actually the 85 coming in this time. So that is Roberts currently in 2nd place, pitting in.
Dyer gets the position. This is a tricky pit lane to get into and get into safely. As you see there, did Roberts speed? We'll have to see. But that will hand Lilac Zier 2nd place for the time being. And this time, Roberts the only one to come in. Remember, Zier will lead laps here because she can go long because she pit on that first caution.
I think Roberts just got away with a speeding violation. He was 56. Coming to the line, just got under as he went over the cone.
Yeah, and unlike real life, in iRacing, if you're a little bit over, as long as you shed that speed off, you should be okay. RJ Buchanan now in the pit lane as well, the Canadian. Merrick Watchhorn stays out another lap, as does Zier, Dyer, Elkins, and Greg. So most of the field. Oh, we got one in the wall. Roberg smacks the wall again out of turn 4 and keeps it going. The rookie keeping that Haas car pointed in the right direction, but there is a lot less of that Haas Automation Mustang. Most of it just got left in turn 4. Ellis in the pit lane now as well.
So looking at Roberts, Wright, both running 41, low 41s for their pit lane times. Zia earlier in the race at 42.2. So Gamillian's 35.6 of earlier, following his 2nd coming together with the 61 car. Well, that was definitely, at the very least, it wasn't a full service. Fuel perhaps, or tires perhaps, but it was not the whole 9 yards.
I think fuel would be the smart play to do, put a little bit extra in the tank since you're going to be in pit lane anyway. I would have taken tires personally, but I think, of course, the frustration of having just been wrecked by the same person for the 2nd time.
Yeah, for sure.
Obviously showing that off in a turn 1 with the swing and a miss, but we'll see, though, how that works out for him.
Not the first come together that the 61 car has had with that team. A few weeks ago, the 61 car had a come together with Hernandez at the same team, and there were some unkind words put over the radio for that one.
As you'd expect. Because obviously race car drivers, the nicest breed of people on the planet, never complain and never yell. Not once.
So kindly mannered. Ooh, 85 going around these cars. Very close though, despite the new tires. That's 7 and 18 in the pits.
Yeah, Greg and Robert and Dyer all in the pits. Watchhorn, Zier, Elkins, Pillar, and Thompson all yet to pit. Bren Roberts should, in theory, have the lead here once things cycle out, though, because he's going to have that undercut. Lap times he's running, let's see here, running 31s versus 32s. So
on the 9 car, Elkins coming in, getting loose down pit road, but getting it for the line.
And it looks like RJ Buchanan back in again, I think serving a penalty in that number 99 machine.
Unfortunate.
But yeah, Elkins has been struggling with that thing being free all day long. I wonder if he's going to try to adjust his driving. Remember, that's fixed setup, so there's nothing you can do to the car to make it drive any different than it is, other than maybe brake bias adjustments. I wonder if he's going to try to adjust that.
91 of Watchhorn in the pits.
Yeah, so watch that number 1 car.
85 in the wall of Exeter 4. New tires, but these cars seem more likely to hit the wall with new tires than old tires.
I think it's because they're cold, but also you got to remember that Roberts is trying to work through traffic as well. So, really struggling with that thing. You can see how unruly it is. This does hand the lead to Lilac Zier, though, and Greg Pillar and Selena Thompson 2nd and 3rd.
She stopped earlier on, so she can run longer.
Yep.
A caution now would really flip things in her favor.
It absolutely would, because then all these drivers are trapped a lap down.
Comes in right now.
So she'll get her bonus point and opt to pit. I think that's still a good strat for her because she gained so many positions with those fresher tires there.
Absolutely. So the cars remaining out are Pella, Thompson, and Gamillian. Though Gamillian's still a lap down.
And hey, look at this. Bren Roberts heading off into turn 3 right now. Look where Merrick Watchhorn is. He's just now getting out onto the back straightaway. That red number 5 on the track map versus that 4, that is the gap that is between the leaders. And look at this. David Wright is even going to overtake Watchhorn on the pit cycle, but he's going to get a bit loose and nearly bounce off of Merrick Watchhorn. So Watchhorn has fresher tires, should be much faster than this lot, but he's got a lot of ground to make up if he's going to try to get up to the lead again. Of course, this is after Greg Pillar hits pit lane. He currently leads in the 09. So Bren Roberts will inherit the lead. Oh, look at that thing stepping out. As he has from the start of this race, he led the opening stanza from pole position, so definitely a fast car. Stuck with Merrick Watchhorn, but you got to wonder if that damage is going to hurt him. You've got to assume it's going to do something to that race car. And Greg Pillar now pits, which will hand the lead to Bren Roberts. And we'll complete the pit cycle as we work lap 55. So it was about a 10-lap pit cycle there. Pit window was 10 laps. Worth noting, Casey Ellis once again in the pit lane. Going a handful of laps down. Probably trying to fix up some of that damage from that wall contact you mentioned earlier, or maybe something larger going on there. It's Roberts, Watchhorn, Wright, Greg, and Dyer, the top 5. Buchanan and Ellis in the pit lane together. And Pillar making a scheduled stop coming out of the pit lane now. Leaves us with 12 cars on track. It's RJ Buchanan actually still in the pit lane, so that'll give us 11 cars on track. Bren Roberts leads them down. Has a 4-second lead over Merrick Watchhorn, who is on the freshest tires of all of them. Should be gaining relatively quickly on Bren Roberts. Trying to see if there's any real battles going on in the back of the field. I guess this would be the closest one between Brennan Gregg and Matt Dyer. Saw this one spicing up just a little bit before the pit stop started as well. This is, again, the battle for the 4th position with that number 18 car.
It looks like we're down 2 cars now, with Buchanan still in the pits.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure if that's still penalty related. I didn't see any penalties on the logs. He may just be done for the day.
Yeah.
Ellis also done for the day. I didn't see what happened to them, but they have been in the pits for the last 5 laps.
Yep, 11 remain in the race. Greg Pillar, having made that pit stop, goes from first place to last place of the running cars. And big loser on the pit cycle looks like it was Jacob Elkins. He's fallen to 7th place after that round of pit stops. So I don't think he got a penalty because he'd be a lap down, but just not an ideal pit stop for him. Lilac Zier, the big winner here, currently sitting in 6th position, and Brennan Gregg getting good opportunities for that pit stop as well. This is the battle for 4th between Greg and Dyer.
Elkins very loose out of 4, still getting. It's strange. Old tires, new tires, it doesn't matter. That 9 does not like turn 4. Does not like to stay, gripped to the concrete.
It is hard to do that, especially with the heat. We'll bring up the weather here in just a second. You can see how hot that is. I mean, you might not be able to read that, Callie, but we can read that here in America, and that's 114 degrees Fahrenheit on the track. That's a pretty spicy track temperature, and the concrete especially does not like heat. Once it gets hot, it just starts ripping rubber. Degradation goes through the roof, and a whole bunch of other issues come with that. That's part of what makes this track so unique, is that it is on concrete, but yeah, for whatever reason, Jacob Elkins has not been able to get that right rear underneath him today. Still hanging on, though, running in 7th and trying to chase down Lilac Zier. Looks like making some inroads on that. And that's the battle for 6th, and then just ahead is the battle for 4th with Greg and Dyer, and they are quickly closing in on David Wright. Meanwhile...
We have 2 cars running together. You'll never guess which cars they are. We've got some runners in the already tonight.
It's the 61 and the 44. I wonder if this is...
the 44.
I didn't hear no bell. As they come down the front straightaway here. 3rd time's a charm, maybe. And
well, I think Gamillion might have it this time. He's clear of her. He has, I believe, a fully repaired car now compared to hers. Oh no, hers is also repaired. So these are 2 even cars. Aside from the fact that Gamillion still hasn't pit since their last incident.
She's going to send it in deep again here, though, and Gamillion is giving her a whole zip code's worth of room.
Yeah, he doesn't have the tires, and he knows it.
He doesn't have the tires. I don't think he has the sanity to get hit once again. And if you get hit by the same person 3 times in one race, that's a tough one. And by the way, we got a little help in the chat, Callie, to put into perspective for anybody who may not follow the Freedom units. That's 45 degrees Celsius on the racetrack.
Hot.
That is a hot racetrack.
I think if you have 3 coming together, the same driver over the course of 50 laps, you get a vacation and they come with new socks.
Yeah. But you won't have to worry about sliding around anywhere, will you?
Oh no, you'll be planted.
So here is, speaking of planted, there is the 91 Americ Watchhorn in the background trying to get around Greg Pillar. That is the distance between the leaders. Brent Roberts just a bit ahead there. There they are. Those are the 2 leaders as that battle continues to rage on, as Dyer now gets around David Wright, as Brennan Gregg has as well. So they'll continue their fight, now dispatching of the number 1 machine.
We are 65 laps into this 130 lap race, and the fight for the top 6 spots of this race has been ever changing. There hasn't been a consistent running order for any car all night. Constantly changing.
Which is great news. That means that we've actually got a decent race. And oh my goodness, the only thing that's been consistent tonight is we've been seeing the door of Jacob Elkins out of turn 4 every 3rd lap.
I think one other thing, I think we covered a bit too much right.
Gosh, he is still trying to wheel that thing, isn't he?
I gotta wonder, you know, with whatever driving style he adopts, at what point do you have to go back to the drawing board?
Well, it's not put him in the wall. I think about the first time you put it in the wall, then you go back to the drawing board. Maybe the first time you go through the grass. He's struggling, but he's still rolling, which is better than he could say for a couple of the other cars here. So this is pretty much the state of affairs here, as you see Lilac Zier trying to get around David Wright for 5th. Right on those older tires, falling back quite a bit now. Was one of the first drivers to blink. Lilac Zier, one of the last drivers to blink. And Elkin's going to shortly take on that number 1 machine as well. So now things are kind of sorting out to what they were. Brennan Gregg slotting himself back into 3rd position and has been sitting there ever since the round of pit stops. And now here we go, because look at this. This is the closest we've seen these 2 leaders since before the pit stops. They're going to have to be dealing with Thompson and Gamillion soon as well.
It only took roughly 15 laps for Watchhorn to get back up to the top.
Keep that in mind, though, if we have a 20 to go on the final round of pit stops or so, that could be very beneficial. In the past, made fairly easy, because Bren Roberts' fight is in the pit lane today, not on the racetrack. He's opting for that different strategy on Watchhorn. So
I think he has the pace to maintain proximity to Watchhorn, but he needs to stay ahead with the pit stops.
Yeah, absolutely, and he needs to be able to keep getting through this traffic in a good manner. I think the other big thing here is that, oh wow, he got really loose in there. Nearly got into the back of Gamillion, who is teammates with Watchhorn, who is just trying to hold a line.
Yeah. Well, I think going into that corner with a slow car on your inside, pacey but laps down car on your outside, teammates with the current leader, you're going in there with a million thoughts and not enough time to process it.
No, but Bren Roberts did a good job to keep the thing clean and out of the wall, and that's what he's got to do right now. The other big thing is he needs to try and minimize how much gap Watchhorn's going to pull on him in the closing stages of this stint, because we're about 20 laps off of another round of pit stops. So
he tends to, I noticed that Watchhorn tends to, he pushes the car at a respectable limit in the opening stages of a run, and then he just kind of sits there. He observes what the cars behind him are doing. If he can, he'll match their pace. If they're pushing too hard, he won't bother, and he'll maintain that comfortable gap until the time comes where there's a caution, he comes in, or is pushing the last stages of the race. He's very good at getting ahead and staying ahead once he's there.
Well, Watchhorn and Zier both having gained 6 positions today. They are both our biggest movers as they stand. Watchhorn on your screen, and now here's Lilac Zier tailing on to the tail end of the top 5, having dealt with Jacob Elkins and David Wright, now trying to get in the fight with Greg and Dyer, which is not impossible. She does seem to have the pace to do that before all things are said and done here, because this battle really hasn't quite ended between the 18 and the 7 yet today. Juicy little battle for the podium starting to heat up as Watchhorn drives off into the distance on that strategy. Bren Roberts very far ahead in second place. 9 cars still on the lead lap. Gamillion and Pillar a lap down. Buchanan and Ellis out of the race as we work past the halfway point. I'd say we're about 8 or 10 laps past the halfway point now. And this is the best battle on the racetrack as it stands. Looks like it's about to be a 3-way fight because Zier is about to stick her nose into this battle. And it's quickly becoming, instead of a battle between the 7 and the 18, it's going to be between the 89 and the 7 because Zier is there.
Tires 3 laps fresher. Running lap times 2/10 faster.
Yeah, it's going to be hard.
Inside through 2, and she has the move all but done.
Yeah, really good pace out of the 89 on these long runs so far. I think a lot of that, as you mentioned, was in part to having made that early pit stop, got those fresh tires. It didn't necessarily put her off sequence, but it gave her so much more tire life than the rest of the field, which kind of just allowed her to be faster through that first stint, which set her up with good track position that she could capitalize on here. And at this point, you mentioned 2/10 faster a lap. It's going to be really hard for someone like Matt Dyer to try and... It's hard to defend that when you're 2 laps slower per lap. You just can't quite keep that car on the outside lane. You can't quite get the launches off the corner that you want. It's kind of like what we saw with Roberts and Watchhorn. The gaps are just so different. It's so hard to fight that and so hard to defend against.
Here's gap to watch on up to 3.5 seconds now.
And building, which is expected, to be fair. We did expect Watchhorn to pull away with that. I mean, he has significantly fresher tires. He was one of the last cars to pit, and Roberts one of the first. So was probably about 7 lap difference on the tires. So I'm just thinking out of the top of my head here. I think it's probably about 7 or 6 laps difference. But yeah, that ebb and flow. I'm actually a little surprised he hasn't pulled away more. It's getting up to 4 seconds, but that goes in line with what you were talking about. Watchhorn's the kind of guy to drive through the field, get to the lead, and then really turn the afterburners off and kind of coast. So we'll see how long that works.
As we know, the biggest contribution to loss of grip isn't necessarily the wear, but instead the temperatures of the tire. If you can turn it down, you can bring those temps down. You should be fine to run. Especially
in iRacing too. More so than maybe even in real life, or maybe a little less than. It kind of depends on the car, but yeah, the temperatures absolutely start making these things scream. And these Goodyear Eagles, you know, they're not bad tires. We just do bad things to them. As race car drivers, we put all kinds of camber on them. We try to make them go as fast as we can go, and they burn up pretty quick when they're running optimal. But it's because we make them do things we're not really supposed to make them do. But, you know.
Don't tell Goodyear.
We'll leave Tony Stewart up to that. We'll let him do the job. It's Watchhorn over Roberts with Greg in third. Zier quickly closing in, though, on that number 89 on a lot faster strategy. Working a treat for her. Dyer sitting in 5th. A little bit of distance over Elkins, who then is over Wright, Roberg, Thompson, and those are the 9 cars on the lead lap. Pillar 1 lap down, as well as Gamillion, who was right on your screen there in that blue and white machine, who is in front of Greg, was involved in 2 incidents with the 61 of Selena Thompson and has fallen off the pace, and Buchanan and Ellis both out of this race. So that's how we're doing right now. Working lap 81 as Greg gets around the 44 of Maurice Gamillion. And Merrick Watchhorn en route to win his 7th straight race if it stays this way. But Bren Roberts is trying to have something to say about it in that 85 machine.
Really the only car tonight that can take any sort of challenge to Watchhorn. And it relies on strategy and potentially some luck if we get another caution during this race. Every other car, Greg, Zier, Dyer, they have nothing for him.
No, they're all fighting for the podium right now, which is its own little fight. But absolutely, it's. If you ever wondered what an F1 race looks like on an oval, it's looking a bit like this, isn't it?
These are familiar scenes.
Yes, absolutely. Bren's giving it a good go, though, of course. 3 A² Cup Series race wins. We mentioned that already, but we were also going to mention again, you can see the next round of the A² Cup Series on Sunday. That'll be at Pocono, and yours truly will be in the booth alongside Kevin Young. We'll bring you flag-to-flag coverage from the Tricky Triangle and see if Bren Roberts can make that 3 of 4 on Sunday night. Be sure to pop in here, and if you aren't already following, be sure to hit the follow button. Not your usual booth. Well, Callie's usually here. I'm not usually in the booth, but glad to be here, and we're sending a lot of love Carmen's way. We miss you, love. We hope you're doing okay. But thanks for the opportunity. It's been a minute since I've been in the booth. It's been since HTL, so good to be back, good to be here, and you'll see me again on Sunday.
You know, I've just been thinking, if Robert's next race is Pocono, and he's sitting at 3 wins, I don't know. Maybe you shouldn't go for a 4th. Maybe you should keep it at 3 wins for the triangle.
Yeah, 3 wins for the triangle. The tricky triangle, as some people say, the hash brown racetrack. Matthew Dyer in pit lane to kick off the first round of pit cycling again. Jacob Elkins takes the advantage, as does Maurice Gamillion. They all come in. So the question is, will Bren Roberts be coming in soon? I would imagine he has to. Gap almost 6 seconds between him and Roberts. That's definitely a gap that you can make up in the pit cycle. So Roberts can take the lead back once again here if he plays it smart.
Oh, it depends entirely on how his in and out laps are and the following laps afterwards. Roberts came in last lap 46, Watchhorn 52. So there is going to be a roughly 6 lap difference between Watchhorn, to Roberts going in and Watchhorn going in. He needs to make those laps count if he wants any chance of fighting for the win.
Well, I think the other thing here is this could be the last pit stop, so I think they're trying to make that number here. If they can go about 45 laps on a tank of fuel, more or less, I think if you could stretch it to 90, you should be in a good spot to make that 46 lap stint. So they're probably going to try to push it to 90, a touch after 90. And that could actually really help out drivers like Lilac Zero, who were off sequence by about 10 laps anyway. That could really help her and kickstart her race, especially if we see guys like Watchhorn and Roberts come in before lap 90, which I don't think we will. I think they can make it that far. But drivers who are pitting right now, like Selena Thompson, like Pillar, etc., they're going to struggle here, I think.
Here's my question to you. When you're in a situation like this and you're trying to hit that number, are you gonna hold it out? Are you gonna run that tank dry, and have better tires at the end of the race, or do you want to come in as soon as you can?
I always want to come in as soon as I can, but it really depends on who you're racing. You know, if you have a manageable gap, like if you're one of these drivers that are racing for 3rd place, you know, you're gonna want to pit around the people. You're gonna want to think about. You got to play it off of the other people. It's a lot of run your own race until you're racing somebody, right? So that's usually how I would do it. It depends, varies track by track, how confident I feel that I can save tire. If I can't save much tire at all, I absolutely want to try and give myself that bit to run with. I want to give myself those extra few laps, but typically I'll go a couple laps after the window opens so that I have enough for a green-white checkered, maybe 2, and then I'll usually pit, because that'll give you enough fresh tires if you don't have a green-white checkered to make a difference, but it also... you don't want to wait too long, because tracks like Auto Club, you can really get bit on that, because even if you are faster, the undercut is so powerful that you'll lose 2 or 3 seconds a lap, and you just cannot make that up realistically. So it varies. I think here I would want to pit early, because the earlier you pit, I think the track position's a little more important right now. We saw how much of a gap Roberts had. If he could go... Oh, Jacob Elkins off the track. Has he finally... He's gone through the grass here. I think his luck has finally ran out with that right rear.
He had a little impact with the wall out of 4. Had a little sideways action and went through the infield. Not great to happen 6 laps, 5 laps after you come in with off of new tires.
Oh, he was in the dirty air too. Oh my goodness, good save there. yeah, in the dirty air, the 44 machine on those fresh tires, we knew he'd been fighting it. That is interesting to me because it looks like the car gets tight instead of loose on him that time, but that's going to severely hinder his progress on this race, and Zier's in now. So
really hinder his confidence more than anything else.
And what did I say about, we're on lap 92 now, the window's open, plus maybe a lap or two, and look who comes in, it's Lilac Zier. So this is going to work out a treat for her, because now she is effectively undercutting both Bren Roberts and Merrick Watchhorn, and Roberts responds to this. Roberts is in the pit lane now. So what does Watchhorn do? Does he come in now? Because if he does, he covers everybody off, or is he going to run long? That's what the question is, because Roberts is going to be able to get that big undercut like he did before. Unless Watchhorn pits. And he stays out.
I can see him going perhaps 2-3 more laps. Trying to use up as much. Now that he knows other cars are pitting. Because he's on a different cycle. Now that other cars are pitting. He can use up his tires as much as he can. Build as much of a gap as he can with whatever tire he has left. Come in and then use the remainder of that tire for the remaining 40 odd laps.
But he's gonna have to be careful here because of how much time. Remember how much time he lost, and remember how many laps it took him to catch and pass Roberts last time, and that was when Roberts wasn't really fighting it out too much. Roberts might have a little more life in the tank, so he's gonna have to be careful here. And if he goes another lap or two, he's gonna have to commit to going long, because then if he pits, he's just gonna lose time and be on the same tires. So interesting strategy here, but he is currently, as it stands, because he's the only car that has yet to make a pit stop, he is the only car on the lead lap right now. Pillar needs to pit as well, but he's lost a lap on pace. So everybody else has made a pit stop. And the fact that he's a lap ahead of everybody means he's safe if a caution comes out. It just would make things a bit interesting.
Wouldn't that be a way to end? half the field a lap down.
Well, they would get the wave around because Watchhorn would pit, but that would be something.
We currently have 3 cars running a lap down, at least on. They're 2 currently, but they're at least 1 lap down on like actuality. The rest of the field, Wright, Elkins, Greg, and all the cars ahead of that. Although Pillar a lap down, and he hasn't pitted since 55.
Yeah. So everybody down to Wright minus Pillar. There's about 7 cars on the lead lap still.
Yeah.
Buchanan and Analyst still the only 2 cars out of the race. I'm not sure what's happened to Selena Thompson because she's lost another lap. So now her and Gamillion are actually racing for position. So that'll be entertaining. Because it does look like Gamillion is gaining a little bit. Watchhorn still leading. But still needs to make a pit stop and has seemed to have committed to the long strat. It took him, what, about 16 laps to catch Bren Roberts last time around? So
something like that. Low teens for sure.
So we'll see how long. It looks like he might be coming in now. No, he's just that slow. So that's the difference. His lap times here. Lap time last time by, or this time by rather, was a 32:10. So 32 seconds, 0.10. Looking at Bren Roberts' last time by, it was a 30.8. So almost quite a bit faster. So Bren Roberts looking a lot more confident right now, which is expected because he's got those fresher tires working for him. And you can see here the 37. This is 9th place Martin Roberg going around and getting his lap back on Merrick Watchhorn. One of them. So yeah. And looks like he should be able to. He will.
There we go.
So that is the difference there with the 9th place car who smacked the wall a couple times. That is what fresh tires can do for you. And I'm sure Merrick sees that, and he's going, maybe I should pit now. Because he's running out of time. I would be shocked if he doesn't pit in the next couple laps here.
Staying out once more?
He's still safe, but he needs to give himself time to go and catch Bren Roberts and pass him. And remember, he stayed out so long that he was under fire from the 3rd place car, too, when he came out of the pit lane. So he's going to have to think about that all. It's just what goes on in the mind here. But Merrick, he's won so many of these races. He's done so many things here. I don't imagine that there will be too much struggles there, as most of the field gets their way around Greg Pillar for position. And look at this little scrap. I told you this wasn't over yet. It's Dyer, Greg, and Zier all in a three-way fight for the third position. This is the battle for the podium right now. And it looks like Zier currently has that advantage. There's Bren Roberts, too, right there ahead. So this is the other thing. When Watchhorn pits now, he's probably going to come out behind all of these drivers.
Now, when looking at H tire for these three cars, Zier, Greg, and Dyer, we have Dyer last in 83. Got loose just then. His tire rate started to show as he pushes the car. And we have Zier, lap 91, she last came in, and then Greg, 93. So he has the freshest tires so far. And he is behind Zier. He has... I would say he has the advantage currently in the situation. Dyer's hopes are dying off, as it were. As the tire race starts to show.
Yeah, you can see this here on the lower right of the screen, what Callie's talking about there. Lap 91 was the pit lap for Zier.
Watchhorn into the pits this time.
Yeah, I don't think he could wait much longer because he's only got about 33 laps to do something about it. So he had to respond eventually. Now, here's the question: is how much time does he lose? Remember, these drivers all got to unlap themselves first, so he may be in good shape. But there goes Bren Roberts to unlap himself. He's got to do a whole nother lap here.
I think in this situation he is in optimal position. Last time in this situation he had what 13, 14, 15, 16 laps to pass Roberts. That is while still conserving his tires. Now he has 32 laps.
Oh, Jacob Elkins has crashed. Jacob Elkins has crashed.
In the infield still. Is that a caution?
Not yet. Green. Still stays green. He's going to get rolling again here. We'll take a look at that in a minute. Where is Bren Roberts? There he is. Now, this is the critical thing here, Callie, is that not only is he going to be behind just Bren Roberts, look, he's going to be behind Greg. He's going to be behind Zier. He might be behind Dyer, who has lost a lot of ground here. So he's going to have to get his way through all of that traffic that's fighting for position, too. So it's going to cost him a little more time to get through these two and try to get through Bren Roberts. And I think Bren Roberts was saving some of his stuff, too, to try and wait for the pit stop from Watchhorn so now he can open up the tank a little bit, because look at the distance there. That's a half a straightaway. Can Watchhorn do it? Absolutely. However, I don't know that it's going to be so smooth sailing as it was last time. Let's take a look and see what happened to Jacob Elkins here. See if he one car on the inside of David Wright. Wonder if he had any help. Nope, just finally got away from him again. He did a good job to not.
Very nearly collected right there. That would have been a disaster for both cars.
I'm surprised this didn't bring out the caution flag. He did a nice job to get it out of the way and out of harm's way, but I'm kind of surprised that did not bring out the yellow.
I don't know. I think if I was there, I would have forgotten where the gas was for a few minutes.
Yeah.
For a few seconds rather.
Yeah. So here it is. Roberts there. This is Greg and Zier fighting for second, what will be fighting for third, but Merrick Watchhorn needs to get around this lot. 30 laps to go. He's got to be careful not to burn his tires up doing this either.
We have Elkins coming to pits again. Unsurprising. This is a disaster for him.
Yeah, I think he was playing with fire for too long, I think, and eventually it caught up to him. So this is on board with point leader Merrick Watchhorn, trying to get around Lilac Zier for third now. Shouldn't be too hard.
Watchhorn's last lap, a 38. Robert's last lap, a 31.4.
So dropping a bit faster than Watchhorn was, but how much is left in the tank of Bren? Do you think he's saving, or do you think he's already out of juice?
Hard to say at this point.
Gamillion not going to put up too much of a fight for his teammate. Now let's see if Bren and Greg can do anything. I don't know that they will. I think it's one of those situations now where the gap's just too strong to really do anything about it. The clock is ticking, though. Less than 20 to go. But with Watchhorn clear and Bren not having quite the gap that he did the first time around, it is looking more and more as if Merrick Watchhorn is in the catbird seat, which wasn't unexpected, but it's interesting to see how quickly Watchhorn can work through that traffic. And now we'll have to work through one more lap car of Selena Thompson before it's all said and done. And don't look now, but Selena Thompson is still scooting back into the clutches of Maurice Gamillion, so that might not be over yet either.
The gap is just under a second, and Watch One is lapping at least half a second faster than Roberts the past few laps. Even if he burns his tires up a little too soon, as long as he can catch Roberts, fight for that lead, maintain that lead, it is a done deal. We are under wraps.
Yeah, he's got it here. I think it's just a matter of how hard is Brent Roberts going to fight this one out. How much does he have left to put up a fight with? Doesn't look like as much as we were hoping.
My question is, how much you have to win until winning gets boring?
I don't know. Ask the likes of Sebastian Vettel and Lewis Hamilton. Ask Merrick. Ask Emily. I don't know. We'll ask. We can ask him when we talk to him in the post-race show, provided he finishes in the top 3, which it looks like he will, as he takes the lead back now with 26 to go. He made it look like clockwork there. Brent Roberts doesn't really have anything to respond with either. The only thing that would change it is if we get a late race caution to really shake things up here. But it looks like Merrick Watchhorn's on his way to his 7th straight win. Little update on what's going on with Maurice Gamillion. There is Maurice Gamillion. And, uh-oh. This is for position, might I add here. Between
round for anyone?
That's round 4 now, isn't it?
Is it?
Yeah.
I lost count. It's been probably 4 times too many.
Ding ding ding. Last pit on lap 85 for Selena Thompson, so should be on fresher tires. In theory, should be faster.
Oh, he is lapping 6/10 faster the last time.
How hard is she going to try to fight this one out?
Will she get reckless?
Well, only one way to find out. Question is, does Maurice put up with it this time? I think we already knew what the answer to that one was.
I'm sure he knows he's already in for a telling off, so what's one more?
Honestly, right up on the back bumper there, lifts a little bit. Taking his time playing with her a little bit here.
I think he's probably just a little scared.
Oh, yeah. Because of things like that.
Yeah, exactly. If you try and push in too much and she just overdoes it, you're along for the ride, and you're out of fast pairs at this point, Gamillion.
And there's not much of other fight going on. This is the fight. This is the last that he's really going to get out of this. So they are both 1 lap down. They are fighting for the lucky dog.
Might have the run here.
That should be over.
The inside line.
We'll see how hard she wants to fight this one out, though. Wouldn't be surprised if she goes for a Hail Mary into T1. It's kind of what brought out the whole situation with these two in the first place. And there she is already.
Going on the apron.
Gonna be diving it in deep, packing it hard into T1 here. You can see Maurice giving her all the room in the world, and she will complete the pass as a result, but he's gonna get that crossover move now down the backstretch. Does she try to block it?
Ooh, the smallest of taps. Smallest of taps from Gamillion now.
I'm here, he's saying. See how hard she's driving that car in, trying to hang on to it. She's gonna probably try and diamond the corner off.
This may be the most exciting racing we've had all night.
And for maybe not the right reasons either.
That depends what you watch NASCAR for.
Exactly. He's taking his time.
There are definitely fans who watch the sport for arguably the wrong reasons.
Well, lucky for them, that's what NASCAR caters to. So, oh, and she gets really loose out of 4 that time. A good save, it must be said. Side by side now. She's going to be on the inside again. She's going to send it in deep. Oh, they touch again off into turn 1. Now they're both going to run deep in the corner. She's going to be trying to fight really hard on this one. They're going to be side by side, and Merrick, the Merrick Watchhorn Motorsports machine is going to be able to pull a bit of a gap here. Is she going to try and send it back up the inside? I think she might concede finally.
When will the tensions boil over? Will there be a fight?
I hope so. Come on, fight. I want to see a fight. I think he's a little too far out of range for her to try anything silly here. So
I think she may have pushed. Oh, she could out those tires, and I think it's a done deal now.
I think the other thing though is that he's driving it in deep on purpose. He has to throw away his corners because I just think he has no trust that Thompson's going to make the corner.
No,
because you can see how much Gamillion is off the line.
I mean, he tried to give her a benefit of the doubt 3 times, and We saw how they went.
Oh, and she's in the wall now.
Huge hit out of 4.
That's gonna be it for her for sure.
Right
She's
behind her, Elkin, seeing a familiar incident where he's
he's
all night.
and this is not for position between these two. She's gonna get out of the way and let him go. So back up front, the battle now is between Roberts and Greg for P2. Lilac Zier losing a bit of ground here. I think she might have burned up her stuff a touch too fast. Oh, Greg right up on the back bumper there. Riding on board with Bren Roberts. Not the position he'd want to be having the scrap for tonight, but still a really solid run from the 85 machine.
Definitely, great showing.
And likewise for Brennan Gregg, who kind of didn't really pop up into the podium places until the second stint started. Kind of just snuck his way in there and has not left the top 3 since. Fighting hard for P2.
Made it work.
Absolutely. Lilac Zier there in the background in case things start getting spicy. She's about 1.5 seconds off. Still 16 laps to try and make something happen on that podium. She's got plenty of room back to Matt Dyer, as now they're going to go side by side for P2. Oh, and a big dive from Brennan Gregg. Absolute sending it there into turn number 3. Is going to hang on to it. And that's move done. Well done to Brennan Gregg. A big move that paid off huge dividends there. Oh, and Brennan is going to throw it in on Greg. Can't quite get there. Bren was dead sideways trying to send that thing off into turn number 1. And he's going to be careful as many times as he does that because he's going to back straight up into Lilac Zier's clutches if he keeps burning that right rear like that. So 14 to go while the battle for the race win may be over, barring a caution. The battle for the podium still raging on between Zier and Roberts. It doesn't look like it right now, but I think Roberts is very much ailing right now.
Well, their lap times, they are similar. They're 32 deads. And Zier having 1 lap older tires. Any hope she has of getting that final podium spot, well, you have 10 laps really to make a move, or 10 laps to catch up and then make a move.
Oh, but look at how hard Bren's pushing. All it takes is 1 hit to the wall there, 1 extra inch out of turn number 4, and she is right there to pick up the pieces. And we've seen it already. We just saw it with Selena Thompson. We saw it a couple times with Jacob Elkins. It's definitely a possibility here. When the checkered flag flies, the broadcast isn't over. Everybody stay tuned. We'll try and talk to our podium finishers here on ABN. Thanks for joining us tonight. We hope you enjoyed the broadcast of the Blues 180 TWIGI iRacing Series. Still 12 laps to go to decide who is going to be the winner in this one. But with the product we've seen on track from a track that's been bashed for not having very good on-track product, I think we're all winners today, no? Nice little race. Only 1 caution. They're all chasing down that man right there. Merrick Watchhorn, who has a 7-second almost lead over Brennan Gregg, is in another zip code, as is usual. And with 11 to go, this is the battle that we're going to be keeping eyes on here, is for 2nd and 3rd. It looks like Greg might have the advantage for that 2nd place, but Zier trying to close in the gap on Bren Roberts.
Her lap times are improving and Roberts are ailing. There's still hope for her. She can still make it into that 3rd spot tonight if she keeps it up.
Yeah, she is looking visibly a bit closer as well. So I think the spirit kind of staying high there in that number 89 machine, trying to get that podium from Bren, who was so strong early on, led a lot of laps, took pole position, just didn't quite have enough in the tank for Watchhorn. I think he might have used up all his stuff trying to make it happen. Bren Roberts still running a really good lane here. It's just he's running out of racetrack and running out of tire to make it happen. The gap is now within 1 second for these two. Ebbing flowing around 1.1. You can see the battle on the screen. That's the lap that they last pit. Now here's a look at the gains that they've had. Can see here that Greg and Roberts with that two-stop strategy, Zier making that pit stop early on after that lap 10 caution. I think that really turned her race around, Callie.
Definitely.
So with 8 laps remaining, Merrick Watchhorn continues to extend a lead both in the point standings and on the racetrack in what has been nothing short of a dominating performance. Bren Roberts did not make it easy, though. And he's not going to have it too easy himself, as he's going to have to try to hang on there for that 3rd position.
There are still plenty of laps in this race for something interesting to happen.
Oh, absolutely. One car around, and it's
yeah,
completely different. And it might be Bren Roberts, the way he's coming out of turn 4. He is using every bit of that racetrack to try and stay ahead. That is the gaps right there for 3rd place. Those are the 3 cars fighting for it. Greg on the left, that brown car in the middle is Roberts, and that Zier in the background. But it looks like Zier's starting to struggle a little bit with the racing line there. It looked like she went in a little too hard into T1. Maybe trying to push a little bit to get that extra little bit of pace out of it and not quite getting the response from the car she needs. So Roberts may be safe here. Roberts really hasn't lost a whole lot of ground to Greg either. Shout out to Maurice Gamillion after having that issue with Thompson. Both of those issues, I should say, with Thompson bringing out the first caution and getting involved in a crash. Racing his way back up to 8th place the hard way.
Finishing at least where he started.
Not going to be happy at all, I don't think, with the 6-1. I don't think the stewards are going to be too happy with him. But nevertheless, a good recovery drive for him.
She is already in hot water from 3 or 4 weeks back. This will not improve their perception.
No, absolutely not. And look at that. That is Jacob Elkins overtaking. Remember, had to make a pit stop from that crash with the fresher tires, overtaking Lilac Zier, which is probably not going to make her too terribly happy.
I wouldn't be if I was her.
And then, no, I wouldn't either, but I don't think it's really going to matter because that gap between her and Roberts has been stagnant at about 1 second. So I think her best bet is that Elkins goes up there, loses the car again, and wipes out Roberts. But looks like everything's kind of stagnated out here, and it's just Merrick Watchhorn that we're waiting for to take the checkered flag unless something happens to bring out a caution. But 11 cars on track, not many of them fighting for position. I would say we're probably pretty safe on that one. 2 to go for Merrick Watchhorn. Not much to say, but not much you really can say. A clinical performance from the number 91 machine to get it done tonight. He's going to come out of turn number 4 and see the white flag here at Nashville for the Blues 180. And he'll come around to take the checkers.
That new orange, it means danger. Watch out, I'm coming.
I don't know.
Doesn't matter where he qualifies, he can still put it up there. A 10-second gap to the car behind, and he started 2 cars behind at the start of the race.
Yeah, I don't think that there's any doubt that he is here to stay as a mainstay. Of course, he's already there's still a handful of laps left here, but I think that, I mean, at this point, the championship's pretty much his. It was 509 points coming in tonight, and it's going to continue even further. Merrick Watchhorn wins the Blues 180 here at Nashville in a clinical effort from him. Brennan Gregg coming across the line to finish 2nd, Roberts 3rd, and Zier in 4th. Couldn't quite get that top 5. Matt Dyer coming home now to try and get that 5th place with Wright in 6th.
You know, if I do recall conversations from last week, I do believe Watchhorn only has a few more races to completely wrap up the season.
Yeah, And with performances like that, yeah, I don't think there's any. I don't think there's going to be any argument there. Here is your race winner. 28, make it 29 career Twiggy race wins. 7 in a row. It's his world. We're just commentating on it. Congratulations to Merrick Watchhorn. He's going to burn it down on the front straightaway on the concrete here in Nashville. It's your ABN winning moment for the number 91 machine and ABN orange. It's not why it's orange, but we're just going to call it that. And can't take away from it. It might be a little boring. Some might say he wins every race. You know, how can he be having fun when he dominates everything like this? You got to give the man credit. He has put in an absolute stunner of a show week in and week out. And I don't care who you are. To win that many races in a row, it's pretty impressive.
And if anyone has any issues with him winning every single race, then show up.
Yeah, go out there and beat him.
Try it. Try yourself.
Absolutely. We'll try and have a word with him as well as Brennan Gregg and Bren Roberts before things are all said and done. But your race winner, Merrick Watchhorn, here at Nashville, extends his points lead, which is probably one of the record points leads in TWIGI iRacing Series history. He's going to make his way through, try to find his pit box and celebrate with his crew guys. So while he does that, we'll take a look here at the scenic view, and I think he may have just lost the motor there. Unfortunate. But that will do it for tonight's race. We'll see if we can hop down into the winner's circle and try and talk to him now. Merrick, this is Kristina and Callie in the ABM booth. You got a copy?
Good copy.
Well, it wasn't the easiest win in the world, but once you got out front, there was no turning back. Another clinical performance today. Walk us through that one.
Yeah, no, I messed up on qualifying on my second lap, so I was kind of struggling throughout that time. Track was kind of slick and really hot early on the run, and then as the rubber started getting laid down, I started able to run the laps I needed to do, and it just everything kind of fell in place. I'm just, I'm so happy that I got that win. Just another day in the office, I guess you can say, another clinic.
There's going to be people out there, Merrick, that are going to say, oh, he wins every race. Oh, it can't be that hard. Oh, how is he having fun out there? What do you have to say to the people that might have to say that after an impressive now, 7th straight win in the series?
Yeah, 7th straight win and 14th win of the season so far. I mean, at the end of the day, if those drivers or those commentators want to jump in here and throw down with the best of us, I welcome it. I always have fun. It's a great race. It's a great time. I'm out here with my friends. We made this league for all of us to enjoy, have a good old time, and throw down every week and give us a great show. Next year the points will be a little bit more closer, so hopefully I wouldn't run away with it necessarily too much or make it just unbeatable, but this is the first year that Twiggy has gone to the Xfinity car, so everyone's like relearning how to drive a car, because we've been running the trucks for almost 2 seasons before this. So everyone's just more used to the trucks, and to me the trucks is a little bit more streamlined for more competitive racing and closer battles, where the Xfinity car, you have to know how to drive a car, you have to know how to set up yourself for offset and ratio and brake bias, and have to put the time in practice to understand what the car is going to do on a short run and what the car is going to do on the long run. Does 2 tires work or does 4 tires work? And if I take less fuel, will the car be a little bit tighter for the long run? So you have to figure it out what works best. But for me, I love racing, so for the haters and everyone out there, it's if you want to show your spunk, you can always come out here and race with us. More the merrier, in our opinion.
Couldn't have put it better myself, Merrick. Of course, congratulations on the win. You're another step closer to that championship being clinched many weeks early. If there's anybody you want to shout out, now would be the time. Congratulations.
Thank you. I just want to give a shout out to Twiggy, give a shout out to QSA, and then of course Capture the Occasion was on our car tonight with the orange Supra. Want to shout out to all my friends and family, and then including y'all, for always showing the love that this league deserves and earns week in and week out, giving the best performance we can have and showing some great battles throughout the race. Hopefully we can get our numbers back up. I appreciate everyone that comes out still and performs and puts on their best face and their best foot forward and coming out here to challenge and try to win races. It's just one of those things. Hopefully we can get more challengers and hopefully we just get people to come back out and join back up. So thank you so much. And, it's one of those things. So a fantastic race.
Well, that's Merrick Watchhorn. Everybody, congratulations, buddy, and enjoy the win.
Thank you.
For somebody who wins a lot, he's still pretty humble. So at least you got that going for you. Always a great guy to talk to here. Here's another one I'm excited to talk to. We got Bren Roberts in the 85. We're going to pull him up and have a word with him because I don't think we can have a word with P2 at the moment. So, Bren Roberts, this is Kristina and Callie in the ABM booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you.
So it was a decent effort. Didn't quite have enough tire at the end to outlast Merrick, but you put up a good fight and you led a lot of laps early and got that pole position. Walk us through that race tonight.
First I want to send my thoughts to Carmen. I know she's dealing with a tough time right now. It was a fun race. I think long green flag runs are a lost art in stock car racing because of stage racing and the sort. I had a lot of fun tonight. Obviously, I couldn't keep it entertaining for the broadcast. I know it was probably a drag to broadcast, but I tried to bring the fight to Merrick, but Merrick is like, it's like racing an AI in a video game because he just has a line and he just doesn't make a mistake. It's like cause I don't even know. I'm like dumbfounded for words because he just did not make a mistake like the entire race. So I tried to put up a good fight and had the wrong pit strategy and burned up my tires, but you know what, I had fun.
Yeah, it definitely looked like a decent race out there. We thought you'd have a good shot to maybe try and hang on in that final stint. You held on really well through that second stint after the first round of green flag pit stops. Was anything different there between the first and second stint? Because it seemed like you had such a big gap after that first turnaround versus the last.
I think it just comes down to I pitted like 7 laps earlier than Merrick, and I got the big gap. And I think I could have possibly held it if I didn't burn up my stuff early on. I just burned up my stuff getting through, lap traffic, or I guess they were on the lead lap and I was a lap down at that point. But yeah, maybe I could have held on, maybe I could have been closer. But at the end of the day, I think Merrick would have won the race regardless because, like I said, dude just does not make a mistake at all.
Well, still a third place for you can't feel too bad. Obviously, you're the leading forward there, and you've got a lot of experience. We know how good you are, and to go out and put on a show, it was still entertaining for our point of view, at least in the booth. So with that being said, do you have anybody you want to shout out? Because now's the time.
I guess I'll shout out ARCS. Obviously, ARCS is the league that I call home. I'm limited on their Friday night series. I can only run a certain amount of races, so it's good to come over here to TWIGI or however you pronounce it and have fun. It's always good to be broadcasted by ABN. And yeah, I had a lot of fun tonight. Thank you all for broadcasting this race.
Absolutely. Well, congratulations, Bren, on a P3. It wasn't the win that you wanted, but you still did a fantastic job, so congrats.
Thank you.
So, I'm hearing we've got some word from down in the booth here, Callie, that there were some fireworks after the race finished, no?
There was an incident that took place which will not help certain individuals' cases.
Yeah, it appeared to have been between Selena Thompson and the 44 Maurice Gamillion. So this is after the race is over. We're watching Selena Thompson now. So here she is. She's coming down the front straightaway. And barreling down the pits at quite a rate of speed here. And yeah. I know what that looks like to me. But you tell me.
Misinput?
I don't think that's gonna pull. I don't think that you can see the smoke in the background because this is Merrick burning down after the win, and then already frustrated.
I mean, it's hard to relate when on one hand you had one car that had a very obvious attempt at turning the other car mid-incident.
I think they're both guilty. Is my call there.
And yeah, exactly. And then you have the other car that very much did turn one of the cars. However, this was not during competition laps. But still, obviously, not acceptable. Shouldn't be endorsed, promoted, accepted. What do? Do you give them both that? Do you give them both a slap saying quit it, or do you lay the hammer down on both of them?
Well, I'm just glad I'm not the one who has to make that call, Callie. I'll tell you what. I am very glad that I get to sit up here and be pretty in the booth.
I do not envy Merrick's position here.
I don't either. Well, I don't know. I kind of do because he's doing the things I want to be doing in the background there. But, you know, we'll see what the stewards say about that. It's different for every series. We see places like HTL where that kind of stuff flies every week and it's just part of the show. And then we see other stuff where in ABN, for example, we're doing that. We get you on a vacation for a couple of weeks. So,
40 days, I think it is.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see what happens there. But that was then. This is now. The race has completed, and we have a little bit of results to show you. So here's a look at the final finishing order from tonight's event, which, it must be said, very solid event from a race at Nashville. Did not expect to have quite the event that we did there, but ended up being a great little race. Merrick Watchhorn taking home the checkered flag for the 7th straight time, 14th time this season, and further extends his points lead. Brendan Gregg in second with a good effort, who snuck on there. Didn't get to speak to him, but congratulations to him and the Ascent Racing team for a brilliant effort. Bren Roberts, we talked to him. He was very happy to come out and have some fun. Put at P3. Lilac Zero with a great run after a pit strategy that worked in her favor early on and put her from the back to the front. She gained the most spots today. Matt Dwyer in 5th with David Wright in 6th, and that's it for the lead lap cars. Martin Roberg, Maurice Gamillion, who will be in the big red truck with 10th place Selena Thompson, both splitting. Greg Pillar, and then Jacob Elkins, the last running car, in 11th. RJ Buchanan, the Canuck, dropping out early on in the number 99, and Casey Ellis dropping out in the first round of pit stops. It was a small field today, but they packed a big punch tonight at Nashville.
Next week, we head to Dover for the first day 200. So same time as always, same day as always. And another race.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you're looking for the next event here on ABN, you'll see me again. Sunday, we heard Brent Roberts talking about ARCS. We'll be running the ARCS A² Cup Series broadcast from Pocono. You can see me there, and you'll see Callie here next week. I'll be there with Kevin on Sunday, though, and we've got all kinds of things going on throughout the week, as always. It's always busy, never a dull moment here on ABN Broadcasting, and we're glad that you all could be here with us tonight. Next up for scheduled programming is we're going to head over and give a raid to our good friend Heydt 12, one of our fellow competitors. So we'll get that set up. And
join them as they are 4 hours into their 24-hour race at Spa in none other than the Ford GT.
They
Potentially that car's last running in any endurance race on iRacing.
That's true. Yeah, Carmen actually has to set that up because I don't have. I just realized I don't have permissions for ABN Esports, so I guess she says she's got it set up. So we'll figure that out. But anyways, we will be visiting with Heydt 12, and if you wanna see your girl, I'll be streaming on my channel a little later too. So if you wanna, I'm gonna go to AMR_Chrissy. But that'll do it for us, for Kristina Ryan and Callie Heydt. Callie, it's been great sharing a booth with you.
Absolutely, I want to do this again sometime.
I would love to. I'm having a blast. So let's go send some love.
If Carmen wants to take another week off, I'm not opposed to it.
Well, we'll see about that. Thank you guys for watching. You have a safe weekend, and we'll talk to you all next time. Take care.